life and put it back together if you don't even know you have a safe place at home. That wasn't my story. I've always known I have a safe place at home. And so why not me?
And what do you hope to accomplish by this outreach? What's your goal and goal?
I mean, I hope survivors know that they're not alone. I hope they know that there are more good people in this world than bad. I want them to know that there are so many organizations here available to them that want to help them, whether it's help them escape, help them be rescued, maybe help them in the healing process. Maybe it's their families who need help along the way. Know that there are people and organizations here available to them.
There's a lot of first responders here doing great work. What would you say to them and what they do on a daily basis?
First and foremost, really, I would want to thank them for what they do, because I can't imagine it being an easy job. I can't imagine it just being something that you're like, yes, today was such a happy day. Like, dealt with a murder, dealt with a domestic abuse case, dealt with child endangerment. I mean, those are terrifying, difficult topics. I would just hope that today is a reminder to not lose your humanity and compassion along the way.
Yeah, just whatever you feel comfortable with, but kind of walk us through your story, I guess, the last 21 years.
Okay.
but again, what's kind of the easy, we know the story, I guess, to some extent, but, just walk us through, I guess, that day and that 9 months and kind of give us some emotional background as far as what you went through.
Okay. So the day that I was kidnapped, honestly, it started off the same as really any other day. I went to school, like I was with my family. There was nothing bad about it. There were no premonitions. There were no feelings of foreboding of things to come. It was a good day. I remember going to bed that night. I shared a room with my little sister. I shared a bed with my little sister, actually, and I remember going to sleep. Of course, not expecting anything to happen. And then the next thing I remember was being awakened from, honestly, a really deep sleep and being confused at first because men are not allowed in my bedroom, and not just immediately responding and having this stranger in my room say, I have a knife at your neck, don't make a sound, get up and come with me. And actually realizing that, oh my goodness, there is someone standing in my room holding a knife to my neck, and just feeling like I didn't have an option, feeling like there was nothing else for me to do. So getting up and doing exactly as this man told me to do. I remember him taking me up into the mountains where I was raped, I was chained up, and that was the beginning of my captivity for the next 9 months. Obviously, those next 9 months were horrific and the hardest that I ever went through. But I think for me, recognizing that my captors could take a lot of things from me. They could take my life from me if they chose, but they couldn't actually change the fact that my parents would always want me back and they'd always love me. And because I recognized that, I realized I had something worth surviving for. So I made up my mind to do whatever I had to survive. And really, it was that decision that really helped carry me through my captivity to the day that I was rescued, which honestly, that day was a roller coaster. On one hand, yes, I'd say it was one of the happiest days of my life. On the other hand, I'd also say it was one of the scariest days of my life as well. I think my plea to encourage law enforcement not to lose their humanity was because by the time that I was approached by police officers, it was in such a way that I was scared to speak. I didn't know them. I didn't know if they could protect me. I knew what my captors were capable of. I didn't know what they were capable of. I didn't even know if they'd believe me because, I felt like I was a teenager. These were two adults. They may have been lying through their teeth left and right, but why would police officers believe a teenager over adults? So there was that question in my mind, and they were quite aggressive in their questioning, which I was pretty shy. I was pretty timid. I'd just gone through 9 months of being very, very abused, so it was scary. It was frightening for me. And then ultimately, when I did admit who I was handcuffed, and and put in the back of the police car, which again just made me think, oh my goodness, I said the wrong thing. I should not have said I was Elizabeth Smart. Like, I'm going to jail now. I can't believe it. Survived 9 months. I'm going to jail. That's obviously not what happened, but it was quite terrifying. And so I think just really encouraging everyone to remember their compassion and their humanity is so important. I was eventually reunited with my family, which was wonderful, but that was the beginning of a new journey. I mean, I was not the same girl that I had been kidnapped 9 months before, and the world did not see me as the same girl. I mean, before, I'm not sure that the world saw me, which was fine in my book. Now, all of a sudden, coming back, felt like everybody knew me, and that was hard. And not hearing anybody else sharing their stories or speaking out made me feel like I was the only person who had ever been kidnapped. Made me feel like I was the only person who had ever been raped or sexually abused. Because these just weren't common topics that I heard about. So over the next 20 plus years, it was getting to a point of recognition that this was not just something I could do, but something that I needed to do and wanted to do. Because recognizing that whether you consciously know someone who has openly said I'm a survivor, or I've been raped, or I've been abused, or I've been kidnapped, just statistically the numbers are so high that you do, whether you know it or not, you do know someone who has experienced sexual assault, sexual violence, maybe even trafficking and kidnapping.
What could you tell the families how to prepare or what to expect when someone who's missing returns home?
I honestly don't think there's anything that could prepare you for when a child or a family member is taken or disappears. I just don't think there is. My suggestion would be let yourselves be interrogated. I mean, unfortunately, families and boyfriends and significant others, they are typically the first suspects. And so if someone you know or love has disappeared, has been taken, let them question you so you can keep the focus on your loved one. Don't try to hold back. Don't be offended by being looked at. Do whatever you have to keep the focus on your missing loved one.
What role did Amber Alert play in your ultimate rescue?
So I think my rescue came because for 9 months, from what I understand, obviously I wasn't watching the news, but was that my story was just so highly publicized. Everybody knew it. Everybody knew what my face looked like. Everybody knew my story. Eventually they knew to look for my captor, Brian Mitchell, and Wanda Barzee, and that ultimately led to my rescue. And I think of the Amber Alert system today, how amazing is it that I believe I was told last night that within 20 minutes here in Northeast Ohio, you can get an Amber Alert out to over 1 million people. That's pretty impressive. That's pretty amazing. Think of how much more we could do if we could reach even more people and get even more information out about these cases. How many more survivors would we see come home? It's amazing what we've done. I think we can do more.
Yeah, I'll say one last question. As far as, your healing, I guess, I know you never get over it, I guess, but does this help you to be able to reach out to other survivors and to avert other potential victims?
I always think it's inspiring and incredible just to see the different walks of humanity coming together for a common purpose and not letting jurisdictions or other would-be barriers stand in their way of coming together for a greater purpose. I think it's amazing. I want people to know that I think that there's more good in humanity than bad, that more people care than don't, and that we really can make an even bigger impact than we're already making on these types of stories and situations. So in that respect, yes, I feel like it's very powerful for me personally.
Good.
No, I know. I was gonna say, look at the
Thank
time.
you so
I
much.
guess we'll get the,
Anything else you want to share? Are we good? We
Good,
okay?
yeah.
Thank you so much. Go ahead and de-mic you here. Here, and the clip here. Some clip.
Yeah, thanks for sharing your story.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
You can take these off.
I forget, Elizabeth. Did you walk up to the police? Did the police come up to you?
No, the police were called. Like,
How were they called?
just people, civilians out doing
Good.
their day.
So really, it was literally because
That was
That was still
it's
because
unloaded. It's
they
unclipped.
knew your story.
You can just pull it.
And then they came
okay, I
up
see
and
that.
they aggressively questioned